The hum of an old radio shop is something most people never notice. But for Ethan Miller, it was the soundtrack of his entire life. While the world rushed toward smartphones and wireless streaming, Ethan stayed tucked away in a dusty corner of Maple Street, surrounded by wooden radios from the 1930s, rusted dials, and memories he never talked about. People often wondered why he stayed in that little shop. Truth was, even he didn't know anymore, every morning at 7:40, he unlocked the same door, flipped the same open sign, and took a deep breath of the warm smell of old electronics and soldering fumes. It reminded him of simpler days when his father stood beside him, teaching him how sound travels through wires, how stories travel through waves, and how music can heal what words cannot. But that was long before Ethan's life had cracked open, long before silence replaced the music in his home. On a cold Tuesday morning, something unusual happened in the shop. Ethan was sorting through a box of broken transistor radios when a customer walked in. A young woman in her mid-20s with a small wooden radio pressed tightly against her chest. Her eyes were red, like she had cried all night, but didn't want anyone to notice. "Hi," she whispered. I heard you're the only one who can fix these old things." Ethan smiled with gentle calmness. "I try my best. What's wrong with it?" She hesitated, holding the radio even tighter. "It belonged to my grandfather. It played a song I haven't heard since he passed. And now it won't turn on at all. I just want to hear it one last time." Ethan nodded. He took the radio carefully, like it was something holy. The girl left, and the shop door closed behind her with a soft chime. He placed the radio on the workbench, ran his fingers across the wooden edges, and felt something unusual. Engraved initials on the bottom. M. Ethan froze. His father's initials were also AM. For a moment, he thought it was just coincidence. But something about this radio felt strange, familiar, like it had been here before. He unscrewed the back panel and found something tucked inside. A folded piece of paper, yellowed with age. Ethan's hands trembled as he opened it. It was a handwritten letter, and the first sentence made his breath stop. "Take care of the ones you love, even if you can't stay." Ethan's heart pounded. He had heard those exact words before, because his father used to say the same thing. Whenever Ethan asked why he spent so many late nights listening to foreign radio channels, why he collected signals from places they had never been, his father would simply smile and say, "Sound travels farther than people do, son, and a message can reach someone even after you're gone." Ethan shook his head. "No, it can't be." He gently set the letter aside and turned his attention back to the radio. The wires inside were old, frayed, but workable. He replaced the main capacitor, cleaned the tubes, and restored the power pathway. After nearly 2 hours of work, he connected the last wire. He hesitated, and then he turned the dial. Static filled the room for a moment, loud enough to make him flinch. Then the static softened, shifted, and a melody began to rise. A soft, slow song with a warm tone of a forgotten era. Ethan's chest tightened. He knew the song. He grew up hearing it every night from his father's workshop. It wasn't just any song. It was their song. Golden Horizon, a jazz tune his father played the night before he disappeared from Ethan's life. The night he walked out and never returned. Ethan's knees felt weak as memories flooded his mind. The radio wasn't just playing music. It was playing history, his history. Someone else's history, stories sewn together through the same melody. He leaned in closer, and then he heard something behind the music, a voice, crackly, distant, like it had traveled across decades. "Ethan, if you're hearing this, I'm sorry." He froze. The room felt suddenly too small. "I didn't leave because I stopped loving you. I left because I didn't want you to see me fade. The illness, I couldn't fight it anymore. But I wanted to leave you something. I wanted the world to bring you back to this song someday." Ethan covered his mouth, fighting back tears. "I knew you'd keep fixing these radios. I knew one day, somehow, this message would find its way home." The message ended. The music continued softly, like it was comforting him. Ethan stood there, unable to speak, unable to breathe. The radio on his bench wasn't just broken. It was a vessel, a bridge between time, between grief and healing. between a father and a son who never got to say goodbye. The shop bell rang again. It was the young woman. "Is it fixed?" she asked softly. Ethan wiped his eyes before turning around. "Yes," he whispered. "And there's something you should know." He told her the truth. Not about the letter, not about the voice, but about the music. How the radio didn't just play a song. It carried people's stories with it. How some songs stay alive not because they're recorded, but because someone needs to hear them at the right moment. The girl held the radio close to her heart and broke down, tears rolling softly as the melody played again. "That's him," she whispered. "That's my grandpa. He used to play it every night when I was little." The shop felt warm again, like the air itself carried a sense of peace. When she left, Ethan closed the door gently and returned to his workbench. The letter still sat there. The word seemed to glow under the dim lamp. For the first time in decades, Ethan didn't feel alone. He turned off the lights, stepped outside, and listened to the world. The distant traffic, the wind brushing across the street, the faint hum of electricity. Every sound mattered now. Every sound carried a memory. Every sound carried him forward. Because one old radio, one forgotten song, and one impossible message had brought his life back to tune. And for the first time since he was a child, Ethan whispered into the quiet night, "Thanks, Dad. I heard you,